r/antiwork. Problikman1 says, we are truly living in a dystopian time period. Included photo. Ishmech says, medical advice that is colored by considerations of profit and liability, no doubt. Deanbag Daryl says, oh, you're feeling down. Instead of listening to your complaint, may I recommend you our latest drug? Creamy Goodness says, drugs? Okay, go on. N1JAL1C1 else says, yeah, but get AI to change a catheter or clean someone's ass. As if. Baron von Dusseldorf says, I swear every time I hear about an AI that's going to make something obsolete, all it is the most bland one-faced crap that ignore every function except the most basic. Artistic Ibracoma 8792 says, welcome to how rich people see things. Neutrally says, hey doc, I feel like I'm having some heart problems. Have you tried turning it off and on again, meatbag? AI Lutus says, is AI gonna give me vaccinations? Insert Ives? Do pap smears and blood draws? What if I mispronounce a medication name or lie about my weight and height to the AI and get the wrong dose of medication? Is AI going to be given my chart? I hate this. Puzzle Hiladed Okra 21 says, nurses saved millions of lives during the COVID pandemic. And here is their award. This is heinous and cruel. Pracer Carcinomus says, and at the risk of their own lives. Miss Sustainable Edhammer says, right, my mom ran a whole COVID ward in a rural area. She got it at least 3 times, almost died. Now she has COVID related Parkinson's, which I didn't even know existed until she had it. The kicker, they aren't even letting her retire early, and the place will likely close when she does. She's not even the doctor, she was a nurse with an upper respiratory specialty and more time in a clinic than the drive. I don't even want to tell her about this. r/antiwork. Deckard Payne says, why I quit Burger King last night. So, I get into my shift, immediately everyone's running around irritated, stuff came up about mom, and so after 30 minutes I'm starting to have a mental breakdown. Okay, no worries, been there before, so I'm toughing through it. Soon as I'm in the kitchen, everyone starts to be lazy, I stop getting help, George. One of the 2 managers there last night noticed something's wrong with me, so he asks what's up. I tell him about a very general worry about my mom and etc. That just opened more of how I was feeling. My mom isn't doing well and had gotten a letter for my day from her that really worried me days prior. Him and Lisa, another manager that night, have been messing around where each other, and because the GM isn't there, they're literally hovering over each other in the office laughing and watching videos while there's a shitstorm happening in the kitchen. At this point I step away and stop multiple breakdowns from happening. I come back in and some Douchinazal orders 16 frick in Whopper JRs and 16 original chickens while drive-thru is getting slammed. No one's in the kitchen but me with 2 other cooks doing frick all. I go to the office to inform them, hey, someone just ordered this much food, and both managers go oh shit and proceed to do absolutely nothing. By the time I halfway finish 16 of the JRs, only then does a cook help, but is going mad slow. So now I'm on to the 16 originals chickens. The other cook Alex, who doesn't speak a lick of English, is just staring like a dumbass and walks away. So now I'm like, okay, frick, these guys, Andrew, you got this, keep going, but nah, that wasn't enough. So an angry customer comes in being a thing, and then sees me and takes his shit out on me, staring me down from the front counter, so that sends me over the top. George hears that and sends me on a extended 10 break and just goes, I'm leaving you out here a little longer this time. Doesn't even ask if I'm good or if I need help. I come back in and this dude sends Opera Closer, who's supposed to do all the dishes, home 2 hours early while it's busy. Dishes are stacking TF up, no one's helping to them. George normally does, but this night he's all over Lisa's ass. So that's more I have to do with no help. Then guess what? The frick, I'm truck shows up with a huge shipment for the store I'm at. 10:30. On a night it wasn't supposed to be there. They're unloading mad shit and George literally throws me in the freezer. Half-ass goes that goes there, that goes there, etc. You got all that right. I didn't make that too hard to understand, did I? Already wanting to punch him in his face. And then goes, oh, but you have to be done by this time, and you can't stay past 1 AM. Then clocks out. Leaving me with an obese cashier, a manager who literally doesn't do shit, and a guy who can't speak a lick of English. By this point all I want is to go outside and have my 15 breakdowns that are now coursing through my body. The freezer is being backed up, I'm getting barricaded by boxes, there's even more shipment filling up the hallway for dry stock, dishes are piling up, I still had to clean the broiler, and when I ask for help, I basically get told you're the only one that can do it right now. Alex is cooking, and the two girls here can't lift heavy stuff. And I finally snap. I chuck all the freezer shit in a huge messy pile, pack my water jug in my bag, and I, dipped out. Didn't even clock out. Jane7 says. Yikes, man, I can feel the anger seething through these words. Sorry you had to go through all that. I hope you'll be okay after quitting. Deckard Payne says. It'll all be better. That same morning I got approved for a machinist position. Some guy 9003 says. You will never look back, now you can order 16 burgers, and afford it too. Monster a Big Tits says. Dang, read all of that. Glad you quit, you will find a better job. Protozo Patriot says. I'm 52. The worst job I've ever had was fast food. I have a theory that anyone with sense moves on to other jobs. The crew chief and shift managers are the dysfunctional people who didn't. It sounds like this job was not right for you. Maybe try a different type of work. Retail can be sucky too, but maybe not as much. In my area for unskilled work there are good paying warehouse and manufacturing jobs. Anywhere you're not face to face with customers is probably better. Customers can be jerks. Effective Effects 7500 says. Do not look back or be upset about it, you made the right choice. Life has its ups and downs and now it's time for you to move upward, all the best. Moon Hippie says. Sounds like nothing's changed at the old Bergerat, lol. This is a description of how it was when I worked there 50 years ago. Smooth Brain Genius says. Holy shit dude, I'm surprised you hung on that long. It sucks you don't have a job right now, but it's better than being in a toxic work environment with worthless coworkers. Cado Sucks says. Go make that same order and then say you forgot your wallet. Jardanito says. You'll move on to better things. I worked at a really shitty fast food place in high school with horrible management and also quit on the spot when 90% of the team left to smoke during rush hour. r/antiwork. North Star says. Got fired for making the right decision. I'm a printing press operator and today I got fired for being proactive. We have been so slow this past week with no job, so every day has been a cleaning/maintenance day. I finally got a job on my schedule, but the material was still in transit and the job was scheduled for later this week. The material handler told me we have a setup role that can probably get some of it done. I told him to bring it down, which he did, and I ended up getting exactly half the job done. It was a short run. Went back to cleaning after, and much later my boss approaches me fuming. He told me I shouldn't have set it up or run it without the material to finish it, because now it's twice the setup and breakdown point. I told him that the time I used was downtime anyways and the machine would have been sitting. Plus the material I used was leftovers from a previous run, that was going to be used for setup, and I managed to get half the job done without even using what we bought. It was clear that he was having an ego trip because he loves to feel like the king, and I wasn't agreeing with him. The sales guy even told me that it's a good thing we had enough setup material to get half done because it was hot and due today and we were at least able to ship the costume a half of it. I also told my boss that if he didn't want the job ran, he should have never brought the job ticket to the production floor and into my queue and shouldn't have scheduled it. But because I didn't bow my head and say sorry master, my boss was furious and told me it was time for me to go. We live in a world where people want to act like the big boss and want to have power over people because it gives them a sense of superiority, and it's like, relax bro, you're the boss of a print shop that was handed to you by your stepdaddy. Ultraviolet R says, time to watch it burn. Seleniva 345 says, hard to believe they fired you for actually getting work done and helping a customer. Sounds like your boss is more concerned with control than running a good business. Their loss. You'll find somewhere that actually values initiative. Teo Wolf says, I've worked in 2 print shops and both of them had shitty owners. What is it about this business that makes them such thingness? Daki Bowler says, I worked in one. It's because the truly creative stuff you spent hours on is never chosen, but the random crap you threw together in 15 minutes that you are frankly embarrassed by was. After a while you just stop giving a shit. Tech 7,271,970 says, no good deed goes unpunished. Words to live by. Smith says, and if he comes back begging, ensure you get a hiring bonus and a bullshit factor raise. Onaplusa Toypi says, he's found the Peter principle. Glommygloom says, I left my last job after I refused to install illegal and or dangerous equipment. We worked in the water well industry, and in a state you don't require a license. This means we install plumbing not backed by code, install electrical control systems not backed by code, and install wiring inside customers' houses, and you guessed it, not backed by code. I did everything I was told at first, but as the years went by, I started to understand what we were doing was potentially very dangerous. I brought some concerns up to the owner who, of course, explained we didn't want to endanger any customers. He then proceeds to put me on every shady job that came across his table. One was installing a water line and electrical service line underneath the dock on a lake. There's a specific way to install lake pumps, that is, making certain there is at least 25 feet of water above the pump and installing the pump on a fabricated stand, but he legit had me strap this onto the side of this customer's dock. Complete hack job. I hated it. Every morning during briefing, he had this shit-eating grin while talking to me about my job. Some bosses don't want to do things right. They only want you to don it their way, or you're in their way. Avoid these men. Fear no leaders. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.